I'm going to do an insight video today, very much around sort of like, I feel like personally there's been a lot of like shifting through cycles and creation over the last few days, that there's a lot of stuff that's coming up for a lot of us, like personally, that's speeding up, is coming up, and it's asking us to, again, I talk about this thing, like this concept of stepping into your own power, and the light shall set you free, but it's this concept of being centered, being connected into the like this source energy. As I sit there and connect into it right now, I'm just feeling this vibration around me, and it's activating something within my body and within my energy field, and it's asking me to sort of like remain in that vibration. Because as I walk through life and I walk through like the physical sort of events and the physical things that are going on, I feel like, you know, the energies that are around us are very sort of like they're impacting us. They're impacting us as we move through life. And I feel like what I'm being given, and what the impression I'm being given, is to remain in that light, remain in that energy. It feels like an energy field around me that's like a protective force that connects to my own energy and my own frequency. And it's again this concept of like the universal law of perpetual transmutation, which is ever flowing, ever sort of like flowing concept, or ever flowing sort of energy of that just dissolves, and it just removes things, and it constantly sort of like is clearing and cleansing our sort of like our energy field and our energy. And I feel like this is what consciously I'm being sort of like connected to today. It's very much around sort of we have to be sort of like every second of every moment we need to be in that light, and then when something comes up we need to sort of like be consciously connected to it, and as we start to do that we move through it. So how I feel is, as I start to like connect into this, I feel like there's energy lines coming straight down through my energy centers, through my crown, through my third eye, through my throat chakra, my heart center, all the way down to the bottom, and then it's sort of like it goes across. It's like in a cross, and it's like this energy then connects into this kind of like, again, this cross connects into this like diamond energy, and it very much connects to us remaining in this vibration, in this frequency. We're still sort of like in it. The impression I'm getting and the feeling I'm getting is we're still sort of like walking around in a physical world, and all these things are impacting us. So this is like this cycle, this shedding, this shifting that's going on, and it's happening to each and every one of us. So as you sort of like feel it as you go through it, there's loads of kind of sort of like moments where you're sort of like, your energy is like ebbs and flows, so it's highs and lows, and it's going up and down like this. And it's like what we're being asked to do is we're being asked to sort of like remain in that light, and we're being asked to remain in that centeredness and that frequency. And we have to start to activate that. We have to consciously start to really be much more conscious of our spiritual energy, our spiritual light, and how we use that to move through things. There's a heaviness within the ether at the moment. There's so much going on with the external world, as things are moving around, as spirit and the guides and the angels are moving so much around at the moment, and each and every one of us, it's about how we activate into that. We activate to that energy, we start to become conscious of it, and we use it. It's very much around that diamond energy is very much around union again, and it talks about sort of this sense of being the spirit world and the physical world, and us being like these spiritual beings, how we're connected into it, but it's how we sort of like integrate it and start to use it. So it's very much around that. The energy is very high, it's very vibrant, it's very light, it's very pure, and it sort of brings this sense of that we can sort of like, as again with this universal law of perpetual transmutation, which is very much around us shedding it and clearing things, but it is a constant sort of it's a constant sort of like thing where we have to realign. Realignment is so important at the moment, and I feel this is what's going on. I feel my heart center is very much opening, and it's very much sort of like vibrating, and it's very much sort of like with this energy as I start to talk about this, so I know what I'm talking about is very much connected into that. I'm being asked to do that. I'd say over the last week, within my working role in my job as what I do for a living, which is, I always say, is my part-time job. This is my full-time job. This is my purpose. There's a difference between a purpose and something you do as a vocation, even though spiritually, that's the key. The key is to do a vocation that links in with your purpose. This is what every sort of aspect of our spiritual development and consciousness is about. However, we also have sort of like things that we have to move through, and we're here to do that. We're here to shift and cleanse, and to awaken and have awareness as we start to move through things. So it's very much around sort of, again, sort of like connecting into that inner energy, that inner light. And again, as I feel this, I feel like the universal law of correspondence activating as I talk about this. I feel like the inner vibration, or the source energy, and the energy that's within me and that is part of my spiritual essence, is flowing from within and out. So it's like it's projecting out through my energy field as I start to talk about this. So I know what I'm talking about has relevance in what we need to do at the moment, which is again the shifting. What will happen with the shifting is you start to move into this higher frequency, this higher vibration. You will shift your physical mind to a universal mind. So it will start to link into like this higher consciousness, this higher awareness. So you'll start to be able to activate a spiritual mind, not necessarily a physical mind. Intellect is not a place, or like a vibration, as that our essence remains in harmony, because intellect is always trying to solve something, is trying to look for ways to come up with solutions, when actually when we're in our true essence and are in our true sort of like vibration. It's not about essence. I mean, it's not about intellect. It's about essence, and it's about beingness, which is this sense of where we vibrate with this source energy, where we're aligned with these kind of energies that are around us, these guides, these masters, and it's about us becoming that channel. And when we start to awaken to become a channel, then we start to awaken to insight, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and then we can start to walk in our own light. We can walk in our own vibration. And so this time's very much around activation and cycles. It's very much around sort of, again, with this concept of not getting caught up in labels, and not getting caught up in like what's right and wrong. It's about getting sort of opening up to expressing our light, expressing our highest vision in any way we can. And this is where the higher mind starts to come in. It starts coming in from a collective perspective, not from an individual perspective. And what this does is, when you start to connect into this sense of this universal sort of like correspondence, correspondence, the law of universal correspondence, you start to vibrate, and you start to vibrate with this energy, and this energy flows through, and you flow, and it projects out, and it creates a different reality. It creates a different experience. It creates a different sense and feeling of being. And it also connects to the universal law of vibration, which is a really important law, because it works hand in hand with the universal law of manifestation, the universal law of attraction, which is very much what a lot of people are trying to look at. It's like this creation. Creation is very important, and we need to remain in that creative vibration, that creative energy, because that's when we're starting to really connect to our essence and our sense of our spiritual energy, our spiritual source. And this is the blueprint of what we create. I mean, a lot of us are going through a lot of shifting, a lot of shedding, a lot of cleansing and clearing at the moment. You'll find a lot of your physical life, things that that you just feel like you're not quite aligned, and this is part of like the shifting that's going on at the moment. Your physical reality is like, the idea is there's sort of like there's a union between the physical and the spiritual, and there needs to be a balance between it, and there needs to be harmony with it. And what that means is the spiritual essence of what we are is here to vibrate, and is to express itself fully. But you need to do that in a physical form, because while we're here, while we're sort of like in this reality, in this life, the idea is that spiritual light and energy expresses itself fully into the physical reality. So it's about us sort of like, so you have to be able to sort of like access that energy, that source, that consciousness, that light in every moment. And then when you do that, that's what shifts it to this new reality. And it's like a completely new way of looking at things. But you can't really move on and manifest and create that like law of attraction and bring it into your life until you can really sort of like remain in that vibration, that frequency. And that's part of the real challenge for us at the moment, because we're actually trying to integrate two vibrations at the moment. One, we're trying to release and let go of the 3D reality, and we're trying to awaken to the higher spiritual reality, which is the 5D, and goes to higher sort of like experiences other than 5D. And it's about a sort of like, so one, we're trying to cleanse and let go, and at the same time we're trying to awaken and have higher awareness and higher understanding, and sort of integrate that new energy within our life. So it's a very much a very sort of like, this is where the integration comes in, and this is where this kind of diamond energy is about, this union and this integration. It's like a wholeness that comes to it, and it's very much around, this is what we're being asked to do. Again, as I'm sitting here, my third eye is pulsating, and it's like my whole vibration of my physical body is vibrating with this beautiful light. I think the difficult thing at the moment is, because of this vibration of the two vibrations trying to integrate at the same time, it's very easy to get slipped back into 3D, because what you'll find is there's a lot of situations and events around you, and there could be people that are very much still living in a 3D reality, and you have to be very sort of like strong in your sort of like in your centeredness and your balance, because there's a lot of people around you that are caught still living in that 3D reality. So it's very much around how you move through that. And again, this is the universal law of perpetual transmutation, which is knowing and having this understanding that at will we can move through things. It's very easy to get caught up with things at the moment. I've had a week where there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of things that externally are happening beyond me, that, you know, my role is sort of like, it connects into where I manage people and I manage individuals, but then there's also things and resources and equipment beyond me, beyond my control, but that goes that you know, that is that things that go wrong that are beyond my control. But it's about this knowledge and understanding that you know, you're not in control of that, you're not responsible for that, you're not responsible for other people, you're not responsible for other people's actions. What you're responsible is for, you know, expressing your light, expressing your energy, expressing your light in your way. And this is what this time's about. This is what this whole time's about. It's stepping into your light. It's starting to really vibrate, and it's starting to really express who you truly are. And that's the key, that's the purpose of this life, is to express that. And if you express that, this is where this concept of the universal law of oneness comes into play, because there's no right or wrongs. If you're expressing your light and your intentions in your energy and your essence, there's no right or wrongs. There's only sort of like, there's only peace, there's only harmony, there's only balance. But it dissolves things, and then you start to create your purpose, your blueprint. And again, like I've said this before, this you know, this, I go to work every day and I earn money, but that's not my vocation, that's not my true calling. My purpose is this. So it's about, again, it's sort of like, it's aligning to that higher vision of yourself, and your higher vision is that essence, is that light. It's not the physicality, it's not the physical world, it's the spiritual world. And that's what this new shifting is about, this new sort of like concept. And the true purpose of each and every one of us is to align our purposes with what we're doing here, to create a reality of like awareness and sort of like where sort of like awareness, but also that we're aligning our purpose with our vocation. And this is what will allow us to express our life and light, and express ourselves truly in that light, in that energy. And this is what this new reality is about, is we all have this ability to create this blueprint. You know, we're not limited, we're infinite. And this is the concept that the masters and the guides are trying to tell us, is that we can express this. Don't feel like you're powerless, because you're powerful. And this is the concept. So it's about sort of like opening up to the energy. I mean, this is definitely something that I'm working on all the time, because there's many times that I have to sort of like look at myself and look at what's going on in my life and realign it, because there's many times I get caught up in that stuff, the external stuff, because it's always happening around us. A lot of it's about letting go. It's a lot about realizing that, there's a lot of things in our life that we don't control, and we need to stop being responsible for them. We've got to let them go and just say, okay, I can express my light, I can express my thing, but some of these things, um, you know, aren't sort of like aren't my responsibility. And then we won't get bogged down with so much energetic stuff that's happening around us. It's also sort of like, with reality as well. Everything has rhythm and cycles. So in that sense, it's like things do come to an end. And it's sort of like, and it's realizing that, whatever you feel that you're in at the moment, there's not like an ending to it. I'd say ending, but the universal law of rhythm to me is about cycles. They talk about the earth and stuff like that, but there's never an ending to what we are. We're on a universal law of oneness, and this perpetual flow of the universal energy. So there's never an ending. What there is there's a new opportunity. There's a new opening. There's a new door opening up. So it's not really like an ending. This concept of beginning and ending limits, and it sort of limits our experience, because we're infinite beings. We're not about ending and beginning. Even when we move to the spirit world, we don't end. We transform and we change. And each of that is like, this is like the universal law of perpetual transformation. Is that we go from one state of being to the next. And when we go into the spirit world, that's what we do. And then we awaken and we realise, and we see the bigger picture, and we realise that, down here there was never any ending, and that we were always supported, and we were always sort of like being guided. The times we didn't feel we were being guided is when we were, we had been sort of like caught up in those kind of physical things, those realities. Everything's about letting go, and when you really sort of like look at it, how many times in your life have you come across a situation or event that you're very worried about, you're very fearful of, you're very doubted about, you doubted your ability to do something, but then when you actually went into the situation, you had the strength, you had the courage, you had the understanding, and you also had that energy there. That was the guides and your own sort of essence and source coming together, aligning to move you through. It happens all the time. I mean, I've had countless amounts of times where I've worried about things, and then when the moments come, and that's it's sort of like it's flowed, and you move through it, and it's gone. That cycle's moved through, but it's about the acceptance sometimes. And this time's very much around that. It's about accepting, letting go, opening, and remaining in that vibration. As I sit here now, you see, I feel very high, I feel very vibrant as I'm sitting there doing this reading. But it's about taking that to your daily life, and it's about remaining in that. So, there's a lot of personal stuff that's coming up for a lot of us, and there's a reason for that. We're in January, we're in the new year, so it's setting the foundations for the future. So all the hard work you're doing now, although it feels difficult, it's a blessing. It's an opportunity to move through whatever's been holding you back, and that's what these cycles are about. These are what these cycles are about. Rebirth and death and rebirth is about that. Every death is a rebirth to something new, and it's a new opening. It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to develop, and this is what this time's about. And this is why we're being activated now, and we're being sort of like we're being awakened, and we're being given this awareness, so we can start to shift through this. Again, I want to talk about past cultures, past realities. On people talk about Lemuria, they talk about Atlantis, they talk about spiritual sort of realities and spiritual times, that have been talked about, been mentioned about, and this is what happens, and we're moving back to those kind of vibrations, those frequencies, and this is where we're going to start to reclaim some of those gifts and qualities that we haven't seen on the planet for a long time, and it's all coming. As I sit there and connect into it, I've got this great sort of like feeling of like a bright day, of the sunshine, of this golden energy that's, of this central sun that's shining down on us, and each and every one of us is basking in that light. And this is what's coming. This is what's coming for each and every one of us. But it's just about doing that work now, and know that you're never given anything, that's too much. You're given things, and it's an opportunity. It's a blessing, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes. And I'm not just talking about, because there are things that happen in people's lives that are very traumatic, and I'm not trying to sort of trivialize those, because I'd never do that. We all have things that we go through, and they're all barriers, and they're all like things that we have to face. And some people have a lot of things to face, And I'd never trivialize that, but I'm saying it's a very much a time of sort of like, opportunity to just develop and grow. So this time's very much, I'm seeing like oak trees, and I'm seeing leaves, and I'm seeing sunshine, I'm seeing flowers in my head. So I know this is very much a time of spiritual growth, but also like expansion and awareness, because it's all in my mind. I'm being impressed, I'm being given this vision as I'm sitting there, and I can hear like birds singing in, and it's like all these harmonies, all these frequencies. It's like there's an infinite sort of energy, and that each day is a blessing. Each day is like a time of growth, harmony, peace, balance, and it's like about a sort of reconnecting to that. So we start to align more and more. So that's the insight for today. Please subscribe, please comment. I'm open to have any kind of questions, any kind of insights. If anybody sort of like agrees with what I'm saying or disagrees with what I'm saying, or there's things that are going on and there's moments that you're confused, I'm quite happy to sort of like put a comment in the box below. I'm quite happy to sort of like connect into my own guidance, and try and sort of like see if we can get any kind of insight or awareness to any situations. So yeah, check out my Facebook page, Spiritual Awareness and Insight. There's loads of stuff on there. I've got a friend who's got a page called Path of Angels. Check that out as well, because she does a lot of good work with the angels and stuff like that as well. All right then, have a great day. I hope the insight brings some sort of awareness, understand, it gives you kind of peace, or brings any kind of healing. Take care.